paragraph development, comparison, and contrast. What is comparison and contrast? Comparison and contrast are a type of exposition. Comparison and contrast are not the same. To contrast two persons, places, or things, A and B, is to examine the ways in which they are different. To contrast means to speak about differences, to inform the reader, to explain to the reader the differences between two themes. To compare is to examine the ways in which they are similar. To compare means to speak about the similarities, to explain the similarities between two themes A and B. One paragraph can be developed either by comparison or by contrast, not by both. When we write an essay, we can have both at the same time, but at the level of the paragraph, it can either be a comparison paragraph or a contrast paragraph. There is one last remark. The word to compare is sometimes used to include both speaking about the similarities and differences. Writing a comparison and contrast or contrast paragraph. Here we should concentrate on how to write a topic sentence or what to include in a topic sentence, and then how to organize the information. In the topic sentence, we have to announce, the writer has to announce that he will discuss the differences or he will discuss the similarities between two themes. He should say clearly that there are similarities or there are differences between A and B. Here he mentions A and B, the subjects which are being compared or contrasted, and then he says whether they are the same or they are different. Of course, there are several expressions of saying that, but this is what is expected in the topic sentence. When someone reads the topic sentence, he will notice that the discussion will be about the similarities or about the differences right from the beginning. The rest of sentences will describe the similarities or the differences. Here there are two methods of organizing information, method 1 and method 2. The first one is called a point-by-point organization, and the second one is called a subject-by-subject organization. Method 1, point by point. When I say point by point, I mean feature by feature. Here, the discussion of A and B is done at the same time. So we alternate between information about A and information about B at the same time. We have A, then B, then A, then B, then A, then B, till we finish the whole comparison or contrast. Then we have another possibility, the second method, which is subject by subject organization. Here in the same paragraph, the writer will say everything about A. Then he moves to say everything about B. The writer does not mix up the information. That's why it is called a subject by subject. The first subject is A, then the second subject is B. We have A, then B. Let's take an example about the first method, point by point. We read the paragraph together. There are striking differences between the European and the North American university systems. Topic sentence. It is announced clearly in this topic sentence that there are differences between A and B, the European university system and the North American university system. Then the discussion, the rest of sentences, the supporting sentences will give the details. They will show the differences exactly. Here we'll see that the writer will speak about the European universities, then the American universities. Then he returns to speak about the European, then the American, the European, then the American. And then all the details are organized according to features, feature by feature. In each feature, both are mentioned, A and B. Let's read. In European universities, students are not required to attend classes. In fact, professors in Germany do not know the names of the students enrolled in their courses. By contrast, in the United States, students are required to attend all classes and may be penalized if they do not. The first feature which is discussed here is class attendance. When class attendance is discussed, both subjects are mentioned and the difference between them is shown. Then the writer moves on to speak about the second feature. Let's read. Furthermore, in the European system, students usually take just one comprehensive examination at the end of their entire 4 or 5 years of study, while in the North American system, students usually have numerous quizzes, tests, and homework assignments, and they almost have to take a final examination in each course at the end of each semester. The second feature here is examinations. The writer speaks about the European system, then about the North American system. This is the second feature in which both A and B are mentioned. We notice that when we move from the first feature to the second feature, we use the conjunct furthermore because we are listing. But when we speak about the differences, we use those conjuncts which express contrast. Here, by contrast. The writer uses by contrast, but in the second feature he uses the subordinating conjunction while. It expresses contrast. The writer is free to select whether to use the conjuncts or subordinating conjunctions or coordinating conjunctions, but he has to bear in mind that the meaning is contrast. Here, this is a good example of a point-by-point development. Topic sentence, then feature 1, then feature 2, and if the discussion is long and we have more features, we can have feature 3, feature 4 till we finish the whole contrast. This example shows a subject-by-subject organization, method 2. Let's read it. Students of the piano often find that dexterity at the keyboard aids them when learning to use the typewriter or computer. We understand from this topic sentence that there are similarities between using the keyboard of the piano and the keyboard of the typewriter or computer. Here the paragraph is a comparison paragraph because it discusses similarities. Now we expect the supporting sentences to speak about similarities. Notice the use of colors, blue and pink. This is to show the subjects A and B, as we did in the previous paragraph. We notice that the first part of the body of this paragraph is blue. It means that all the information here is about the first subject. using the piano keyboard. Then the second part of the body of this paragraph is in pink. This means that the whole discussion is about B. Let's read. Playing the piano requires the ability to coordinate the movements of the eyes and hands. As the pianist reads the musical score and places her fingers on the appropriate keys, and if the pianist hopes to play with any measure of success, she also needs a sense of rhythm. So all the discussion is about the piano. The writer did not speak about the keyboard of the typewriter, so the discussion of A and B is separated. Then he moves to speak about B and say everything about B. In contrast, using the keyboard of the typewriter or computer requires these same skills. An accurate typist must read carefully the material she is typing, scarcely glancing at her hands on the keyboard. If she wishes to type rapidly, she must develop a rhythmic pattern in the movements of her fingers. So, everything is said about B, and the A is not mentioned at all. Between the discussion about A and the discussion about B, we have an expression which shows the contrast. In contrast. Then, the whole thing is concluded with a sentence. It is not surprising, then, that many pianists are excellent typists. Concluding sentence. The language of comparison and contrast. How to express comparison. You have here a list of words and expressions that help you to express comparison. Let's read the examples. The man and the woman are tall. Both of the tables have broken legs. Both my neighbor and I are selling our cars. The shops are closing for the bank holiday. The post office is also closing. Kathy is planning to go to the party, and I am too. Neither Joe nor Steve went to the meeting last night. Their new computer is similar to the one my brother bought. Is the restaurant where you had dinner the same as the place where I ate last month? His coat is just as warm as the more expensive one. My parents were born in a small village. Likewise, my brothers and I also grew up in a small town. There are many parks to visit in that city. Similarly, there are several parks in my hometown too. The writer should be careful because these words and expressions do not behave grammatically in the same way. Also, their position is not the same in the sentence. Some are used at the beginning, others at the end. The punctuation also is not the same, so each one has a unique way of being used. How to express contrast. There are also other expressions which show differences. We have some examples. Eating out is usually more expensive than cooking at home. More adjective than. My bedroom is bigger than. Adjective er than. Short adjectives. I enjoy eating fruit for dessert, but while though my friend likes chocolate. This book isn't the same as the one you bought. Some people feel that doing exercise isn't as fun as watching TV. Negative. That style of shirt is different from the styles most people wear. The lakes we swam in were very clean and beautiful. In contrast, the lakes in my country are polluted. The new shop sells its clothing at low prices. However, other shops have better quality clothing. My boyfriend likes doing sport. On the other hand, I prefer doing yoga. The same remark applies to the expressions of contrast.